we learn from our dads?
It's mostly sayings. My dad, you know, I think that's what most people learn from their dads. Very, like, you know, you say, you can't make an omelette. Very pessimistic man, my dad.
How to read. My dad taught me how to read by reading Benji the Squirrel.
You can't read.
Only just.
Benji the Squirrel. What,
Benji the Squirrel.
Go on, prove it. What happens in the end?
OK, well, he gets the nut.
Is it not... No matter what time I get up, it'll always be afternoon? Like, no matter what time, you'll always be after your dad. It'll be like, afternoon, son.
Yeah.
Afternoon. Like,
even at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's like, it's half eight, Dad. Afternoon. I've already been to the shop, got the papers.
I remember when I was about 12 or 13, friends are very important to you, and my dad had 4 kids, whatever. I remember thinking, you never see his friends, because he's just busy, he's working busy. I said to him, Dad, where are all your friends? He said, well, they're doing exactly the same as me. He said they're sitting down after a hard day's work, having a whiskey and answering stupid questions.
Top thing we learn from our dads. I think it's quite an obvious one. Go on, have a...
Is it DIY?
Correct. The right answer. Yes, the top thing we learn from our dads is DIY. Every Sunday morning, you could hear my dad banging away in vain, trying to coax some life out of the old boiler. And then he'd give up, go upstairs and fuck my mum. Women's dream way to be proposed to.
I think girls like to be proposed to in bed.
No,
In bed? After I just apologise and try and move on.
No, I think almost during.
During?
Hello.
Wow.
Really? I haven't got time.
Is it on Trisha? That's my dream way.
That would
then
be.
you can ask for a DNA test straight away. And you can ask for, like, a lie detector and all that.
But if you're proposing to someone, a DNA test would be to find out whether they're the same species.
Is it outside Yates's? and you're holding her hair as she's having a little bit of a sick.
Again,
There's some places in Manchester where if you did that, you'd be quite the David Niven.
I didn't take any risks when I proposed. I put a note up the cat's arse. And when it went into the kitchen, I thought she'd go, what's that in the cat's arse? Will you marry? It's a bit smudged here.
I like the way that my husband proposed to me. Like, he proposed in front of people. I honestly think I probably would have said no if it was just like me and him. I'm going to actually try and answer the question. I'm just thinking, like, girly girls, probably, like, on bended knee at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
I'll give you that for the Paris, because women's dream way to be proposed to is actually on a romantic holiday.
Went to school in Glasgow. The highlight of the day was eating junk food at lunchtime. And I was always the kind of fat guy that would bring in a note to PE, like, please excuse Kevin from volleyball. He's off the Gregs. So...
Sure. Patrick, Kevin, you're to go first. Who's the greatest living Briton?
Susan Boyle.
People give Susan Boyle a hard time, but I think she's a good-looking fella.
I think she is. They're doing a film of her life as well.
Are they?
Yeah, and I thought, how interesting is that? The first 40 years is just her feeding cats. I think she'd be a perfect replacement for Michael Jackson at the O2. No, honestly, because now that, you know, Michael Jackson's cancelled, they've renamed the O2...
Cancelled? He He didn't phone up just for a sec.
No. By the way, I'm just about to die. I don't think I can do the show. I can tell you, Susan Boyle, the public didn't vote for her.
No, but...
Have another guess.
Tim Berners-Lee, the guy who created the internet.
If you invented the internet, it must be rubbish. There's no websites are out. Well, there's nothing to do on it. It's not even got cinema listings.
There's nothing to do on the website.
Not when you're the first person. It's like the bloke who invented the phone for the first time. Like, you know, Alexander Graham Bell. Who did he ring? How did he know it worked?
Surely, if you invent something, you can always invent another one to go with it.
What, invented two?
I think he invented 2 phones at the same go.
Yeah.
So Jason... Hello, it's me! I know!
So engaged, you idiot.
I can tell you, Tim Berners-Lee not voted in the top 50 Britons.
Oh.
On the computer theme, I just found out Stephen Hawking is British. I never knew that until last week. I could never place the accent, I suppose.
I read he went to Stringfellows. He likes Stringfellows.
In 2003, Hawking reportedly visited Stringfellows.
That must be weird if you're in the booth next to him. And in the next one, you can just hear, play with your boobies. Your eyes are like the cosmos.
I think he's the perfect bloke to go for a pint with, though. WKD for me and a WD-40 for him. It's perfect.
Do you know what I would really like to see him on? I'd really like to see him on Mastermind, because he's so bright.
Mastermind? Have you not seen Robot Wars? He'd kill on that.
No!
Well, let's have a look and see whether Stephen Hawking is up there.
There he is.
Yes! Stephen Hawking was voted the greatest living Briton by the British public. Hawking's A Brief History of Time is a hugely successful book. Over 200 million people in 100 different countries have now read the first 2 pages. Perhaps his 2 most famous quotes are, "The total energy of the universe is exactly 0," and, "Warning, vehicle reversing." Right, other great living Britons, Jason's team.
It's got to be somebody else who is revered, like David Beckham, for example. Because he's one of those people who I always put together with Stephen Hawking. I always think... because everyone has... Look, you're giggling already because he's like... Everyone goes, oh, he's stupid, isn't he, David Beckham? You're like, well, that's not what he's famous for. He's famous for being brilliant at football. Nobody goes, oh, Stephen Hawking, he might be clever, but I'd piss on him in a race. Do you know what I mean? So...
Yeah,
I don't think Stephen Hawking would sell as many underpants as David Beckham, would he? And the other thing about David Beckham is he always advertises foreign stuff, doesn't he? He always advertises, like, police sunglasses, Dolce & Gabbana. Why doesn't he do, like, Aunt Bessie's Yorkshire puddings? These are lovely. It's a bit like my Michael Jackson voice. These are Yorkshire puddings. You just take them out of the freezer and...
Shamon!
Yeah. Yeah.
I like seeing proper fat blokes with Beckham on the back of their England shirt. And then I like to run after him down the street going, David! David! David, can I get you? David, can I get you? Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry, I thought you were the real one.
He used to be a lovely-looking chap, but he's got too many tattoos, doesn't he? He's going to need a contents page if he carries on like this. Presumably, they're all to remind him of the things he's not supposed to forget. He's got his son's names somewhere on his back or something. He's got "Forever by my side" on his arm. It's presumably to remind him where to keep that.
Oh, well, I can tell you, David Beckham is not in the top 5. Great Britons. Yeah.
There you go.
Beckham recently branded a journalist a sado. What kind of wally says sado? Div. When he resigned as England captain, Beckham broke down in tears as he realised he'd have to spend more time with her. Another guest from Sean's team.
Jamie Oliver, is he there? Because he's good work for the schools. See, I feel sorry because when I went to school in Glasgow, the highlight of the day was eating junk food at lunchtime. And I was always the kind of fat guy that would bring in a note to PE, like, please excuse Kevin from volleyball, he's off the Gregs. So... what I'm saying is the guy's effort is pretty commendable, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, no, I think so.
I got really upset with those, as a mother, with those mums that went and fed fish and chips to their kids through the school gate.
Yeah.
In sort of, what's the word?
Through the
Rebellion.
Photo opportunity?
Because it's like, yeah, well... my kid's going to die of obesity. By the time he's 14, that'll learn that, Jamie Oliver.
But it is weird, because I've read, like, people were saying, oh, he's only doing it to become famous. Like, if that's a byproduct of doing something nice and good, then so be it, you know what I mean? If the bloke who invents the cure for cancer wants to name the cure after himself, no one's going to go, big-headed prick. You know what I mean?
Mumps. Do you know who discovered the mumps?
No.
Who?
Have a guess.
Dr. Mumps?
No. It was actually discovered by Dr. Gonorrhea. But he was saving his name for something a bit more serious. I can't waste my name on a little red lump. Something that rots the cock.
I can tell you, Jamie Oliver is not in the top 5. Ooh. Over the years, Jamie has helped popularise certain phrases, like pucker, lovely jubbly, and is there anything else on? Another guest, greatest living Briton.
Is Thatcher on there? Thatcher, milk snatcher. Which I think she got off remarkably lightly for. It's like having a go at Hitler for making the moustache a little less fashionable, isn't it? It's like saying, Hitler, now we can't have moustaches that are littler, that is. But I bet she's on there, that odious old toad.
I remember when I was a kid, we weren't allowed that soft, whippy ice cream because she invented it, apparently.
Margaret Thatcher invented...
You got the same Margaret Thatcher?
I'm telling you, her and Dr. Whippy They got together and she invented soft whippy ice cream. She was part of the team that discovered that.
Was this before she was Foreign Secretary?
That is real. That is real. Have a look. Google it when you get home. Look, that woman's nodding. That woman's nodding, and she's not mental.
Same thing happened in our house. At Christmas, we weren't allowed tinsel because Robert Mugabe invented tinsel.
It's true. But she was voted in 3 times, so a lot of people back in the day must have liked her.
People say that, oh, she had to do what she did, and that's why you got to admire her for that, because she had to do what she did. A dog's colon has to extract water from its faeces before it pushes it out through its anus, but I'm not going to buy a commemorative plate for that, either. Something you have to do. You don't have to admire her.
Let's have a look and see whether Margaret Thatcher was voted one of the greatest living Britons.
She's bound to be. She's bound to be.
Surely not. No!
Incredibly, yes, the British public voted Thatcher the 4th greatest living Briton. Thatcher recently broke her arm in what doctors describe as a good start. Thatcher says she doesn't want her funeral to be a morbid affair, she wants it to be a celebration. Well, you won't be disappointed, love. It'll be like Mardi Gras, there'll be a conga. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most popular talking points. Jason's team, you're to guess first. What do you think people might have been talking about this week?
It's the untimely death of Molly Sugden. Who saw that coming? Who else is that?
Jimmy.
Is it...
Jimmy. He had his chance.
Yes, David, what?
Have you heard Michael Jackson is dead?
Yes. I heard.
People have been talking about it because he's a controversial figure. I mean, if it's wrong to share your bed with 13-year-old boys, then lock me up and throw away the key.
I just thought the coverage, like the night he died on Thursday, was it Thursday when it happened?
Thursday, yeah.
I mean, I sat there all night just flipping channels between BBC, Sky News, just trying to see how many different ways you can say Michael Jackson is dead. There was this lady on BBC News, and she said, Michael Jackson, King of Pop, dead at 50. We go back live to Los Angeles for an update. He dead! He's still dead!
The saddest thing is about 10 minutes after his death, you get about 100 text messages from people you've not even seen them for 15 years. And you're like, who's sat there at 1:30 in the morning thinking, I've not seen Jason for 12 years, I might send him a gag about a dead celebrity 12 minutes ago.
People say things like he's entrusted his kids. But apparently they're not really his kids. He's not the biological father. Which actually wasn't difficult to work out. They look like they're related to the Swedish royal family.
Do you know their names?
Prince Michael. 1, 2 and 3.
No. What are your children called?
I'm not going to tell you my names of my children.
Why not?
I don't want you freaking them out as well. Poking your head over the fence going, hello.
Are you sad about it?
For me, it's a little bit like when Diana died. I couldn't give a fuck. The audience, how do you feel? Are you good? Do you feel sad? No, it's a weird one. A few of you, yes. Now, I read in the paper the big story, the real tragedy around Michael Jackson's death was the fact you were looking for a house and you lost out on the deposit.
Yeah, there's an element of truth in that, yeah.
So did you find him a house?
He was actually found 3 houses. And this is perhaps why I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, yeah. Is he living in one?
Because... just a little bit. He was due to sign he was due to choose one of the houses this week.
So what was he looking for? Was it a flat?
Fairground, isn't it? Has it got an ensuite? Has it got a waltzer?
Well, what was he looking for?
He needed what was essentially a stately home, but it needed to have all the mod cons of a gym and a cinema and a panic room and that sort of thing.
But I think what's quite interesting is they were going to have a state funeral. People were going to go and see his coffin. What they're going to do instead of a state funeral, they're just going to dangle him out of a window for 30 seconds.
Let's have a look and see whether Michael Jackson is one of the most talked about things this week. I imagine he's right up there. Yes, indeed. I think the highest percentage we've ever had. Yes, Michael Jackson has passed away. You could tell Michael Jackson wasn't well. He hasn't looked himself since about 1984. Jason, what else have the nation been talking about?
It's been hot. Really hot. Apart from in where I live, where it's not been.
I'm from Manchester. It's been hot. Where have you been?
Yeah, but you're in, like, cold places a lot of the time. Everything's hot to you. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, that was a cold spot. You're like, no, it doesn't. You just live in Manchester.
Oh, I'm getting something here. Any thoughts on the weather, Reg?
Yeah, it's hot. Probably ain't gonna be hot all that long. And if it stays as hot as it is, you're gonna have Spanish people coming over here to have sex. So...
Wasn't there some government new system, an alert system?
There is now an official alert. Yeah.
What a load of old rubbish, sorry.
As opposed to what you do.
I think the press could be more imaginative with where they cover the hot weather. They always have the same thing. They always have, like, some girls in a bikini near a beach, and then behind them they've got a graphic of a sun with the temperature, saying 32 degrees, whatever. I suppose in about 40 years' time, that little sun will have 48 degrees on it, and on the beach it'll be full of dead people. Just lying there like that.
Let's have a look and see whether the hot weather is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, it's been really hot this week. The pavements in London were hot enough to fry an egg. Yeah, I'll have mine dog side up. Sean, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
The Queen wants more money. She said that she wants an increase in the civil list because she hasn't got enough money. And they've said no, they're not going to give her any more money.
What's the point in having a queen if she got to ask somebody else for money? Surely, if you're the queen, you go and you get the money yourself. Like, look at this treasure chest of gold in the castle. I ain't got to ask nobody for nothing.
It's no good asking me. I don't understand it. She's on the money. All she's got to do is take a picture of herself and write £20 on it. It's done. That's money.
Or she could get sponsorship. She goes, hello, I'm the Queen, brought to you by Powergen. I'm wearing a crown because I'm worth it.
Can I ask, who's met the Queen? Who's actually met the Queen?
Me.
Well, everybody.
You've not met the Queen? When?
We went to meet the Queen. I went to Buckingham Palace. I had tea with the Queen.
Well, I'll ring her up later and
When
ask
did you
her.
meet the Queen?
I have.
You have not met the Queen?
Every Tuesday I give her trampolining lessons.
She could do. You think sometimes, just to wind Prince Charles up, when he walks in, she pretends to be dead? That's when he walks in, he goes, yes! She goes, ah!
Reg, have you ever learned any other languages?
Sometimes I've made up words in another language. There's a French word I made up, j'en t'ai flu.
What does j'en t'ai flu mean?
It means whatever. So, like, if someone says, you're in a restaurant and a French person says, do you want red or white wine? You go, j'en t'ai flu. When I say it to French people, you know, it catches them off guard. You know, they feel like it's a French word they don't know. Then they feel embarrassed because I'm not French, yet I know it. And I say, well, maybe you ain't really French then, man.
Best way to get the attention of someone you fancy.
Is that the answer? Is that it?
No.
No, OK.
I think the best way is to break into their car and strap yourself into one of the kids' seats. Like that. When they come in, you go, right. Can you look after me?
Move your hands, because I can't get close to the buzzer, can I? You put your hands there.
You don't need to, it's their answer.
When I try to get attention to somebody I fancy, I probably do the thing British people don't know about. I talk to them. But, I mean, I don't expect y'all to know too much about that.
Not on the list, Reg.
What do you think? How would you get the attention?
Show me tits.
Show me your tits isn't there, but you know what? That is going to work.
Build a fun fair in your garden.
It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most talked about things this week. Sean, what do you think the nation will be talking about?
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice. It was the final of The Apprentice, and Alan Sugar decided finally to give someone a job in his empire. Which I don't think is an empire. I think it's like a Greek island. I think he does everything. I think you go into his offices, he's dressed in a wig, and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Sugar, I'll see you now." And he goes on with runs into the boardroom, sits there, is going, "Come in, sit down. Tea or coffee?" They go, "Tea." And he goes, "Hold on a sec." And he goes, "No." Because I've never come across any kind of Amstrad or Sugar Enterprises in any part
Have you not got a Faxophone 3000? No. The Faxophone 3000 they use, it's brilliant. It's like a MIDI hi-fi system with a fax.
It's like someone sellotapes a sort of flask to a banjo or something like that.
It's baffled me how he is so rich when... What is Amstrad? I mean, I had an Amstrad CPC 464 when I was 12.
Is that the one with the green writing?
Green screen, and it loaded games off tapes. That was the system. And he's now a millionaire. He must own actual sugar.
James, do you think the right person won?
Yes, I think Yasmina was right to win, yeah.
The prize on this, Yasmina's prize, she won a job at a digital signage firm.
Yeah,
now,
that's
I
right.
don't know much about digital signage, but is it that?
She is selling digital telly things with stuff on.
Wow.
You'd be good in that job because you know all the lingo.
That's right, yeah.
Why didn't he pick Kate?
Did Kate lose because she's got a Birmingham accent? Because that's why I would have said no. I work with Richard Hammond. When he's had a drink, he becomes fully Birmingham, and it's just intolerable noise. Does Sir Alan make you call him Sir Alan?
No one actually tells you that you do it. It's like, it might not be his real name. Just
But why didn't you call him...
His name's not Shirley, it's Sir Alan.
And I just found it all too fascinating, The Apprentice, because as far as I can work out, all you actually do in there is spend 10% of your time doing something and then 90% working out who to blame when it goes wrong.
That's it, you have to kind of...
Alan Sugar, you notice this, Alan Sugar, how cross he gets, because one team's made £8 and the other team's lost by 25 pence. But is it like that? And then what's that, Margaret?
Let him speak!
It's like talking to an 8-year-old, isn't it?
Is it like that? Let him speak!
Why does he get so cross about 25p?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, why does he get so cross?
God almighty!
Answer!
He hasn't made 800 odd million through, you know, look after the pennies and the 800 millions look after themselves.
It's that kind of homespun wisdom that lost you the whole thing.
Yeah. Do you know one thing I've picked up, actually, from watching it on the telly? I've just realised how bad my posture is. It's like I'm a prawn, like a jumbo prawn.
That's the main thing you've learned from that experience.
But you are massive.
I mean, how big are you, James? How big are you?
That's the question we're after.
There's a lot of big boys on that team. I want to know who's the biggest. Let's get you and Clarkson back to back. Come on, let's get you back to back. Well, let's see it.
We're not going to get that this time.
James, back to back.
He just said...
Just don't argue with me. Back to back. James is bigger. James is bigger.
Yes.
Let's have a look and see whether The Apprentice is one of the most talked about things this week. Course. Yes, it was the final of The Apprentice. I don't pretend to know much about business, but after watching Yasmina and Kate carefully analysing their business decisions and leadership qualities, I simply can't understand why Sir Alan didn't hire the pretty one. Sir Alan's been asked to sign on as the government's enterprise czar. James has been asked to sign on. OK, Jason, Holly and David, what else of the nation are we talking about?
Well, it's got to be the
European elections, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got to be the European elections, isn't it, Jimmy?
No, it's just the BNP going over there taking all their jobs. It's,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple.
Someone threw an egg at him, didn't they?
Was it a British hen that laid the egg, do we know?
It was a brown egg that was thrown, and that's what hurt.
understand why the BNP even want to be, you know, in the European Parliament, because they're always going to be sat next to foreigners, aren't they, all the time? Unless that might cure them. They go over there and go, actually, it's quite nice, and the people are really friendly. Oh, what's that? Oh, croissant. I'm no longer a racist.
There's no difference to UKIP. All UKIP have got is we don't like Europe.
Yeah.
So people who vote for them vote for UKIP and say, oh, we don't like Europe. But it's kind of pointless, UKIP going there, because they don't like Europe. It's a bit like going to someone's birthday party who you hate, refusing to sing happy birthday, eating all the cake and then going, this is a shit party.
Then did you see the size of the voting paper for it?
Yeah, it was long.
It was like a piece of bog roll. It just stretched it all the way across the floor.
I just crossed all of them out and just put Hamas. They'll sort this borough out.
OK, let's have a look and see whether the European elections is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, of course. Yes, the European election results were out this week. The BNP has complained of media bias, which is fair enough. You're not even allowed to describe the BNP leader on television till after the watershed, and even then they sometimes bleep the word Sean, Jeremy and James, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Is it Gordon Ramsay's been making friends in Australia? Well, he was actually being told off by the Australian Prime Minister, wasn't he? He was called the lowest form of life. Because he called a TV presenter a pig. He said she was a pig-faced woman. And I thought it's quite ironic, him calling someone a pig when his face looks like crackling. Burnt crackling.
One of the things she said was that he called her a lesbian pig. And he's gone, I never called her a lesbian. And he's been...
This is the picture that he put up. And in fairness to him, she does look a little bit like a pig in that.
Yeah. He's probably got a recipe that said, while the jus is reducing, you can Photoshop a woman to look like a six-titted pig. If so, you did an interview, you've done lots of interviews, haven't you, Jeremy?
Yeah.
You've never thought the next day thinking, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to mock them up looking like a six-titted pig. Even if you've thought about it, you haven't bothered to do it.
I sort of feel a bit sorry for Gordon. When the Daily Mail demands an apology, you know, we demand an apology. So he then goes on the television, which he did, and said, I'm very sorry. And now we demand more.
They called his apology snivelling.
Yes, snivelling.
So they
apology.
demanded an apology, he apologised, and then they went, snivelling apology. Yeah. Well, he can't win then, can he?
What they want you to do is stand outside the Daily Mail offices with a cheese grater just rubbing your face off. Like that.
I think you'll find Gordon Ramsay's already done that. Have you not seen the effect?
Yeah. But that's what I mean. How can he go around delivering, you know, insults about how people look? He makes Ronnie Wood look like Hannah Montana, doesn't he? When he shuts his eyes, it's like someone's put a chef's hat on a walnut.
What I can tell you, it's not one of the most talked about things this week. This is the story that Gordon Ramsay has insulted an Australian TV presenter. The general rule is when you're accused of being insensitive towards women by an Australian, you've got problems.
It's the 10th series now, and I've always been a fan of Big Brother, but there's been a few points where I think even the voiceover bloke sounds like he's getting a bit bored. Yeah. So one day I just want to turn it on and go, dear whatever it is in a Big Brother house. Yeah. One of them has said something that's upset the other one, but the other ones don't care.
Here's the thing, Davina, brilliant. The house, brilliant.
Who's your favourite housemate?
Well, then
the
problem is, then they fill the nice, lovely house with the cool sofa and the, oh, you can come over here and make a smoothie with twats.
Sorry, Shree is not a twat. No. Shree is amazing. He's obsessed by this girl. He's obsessed by Noreen. He's in the same house as her as he's obsessed by her, so it's come in really handy. It's a stalker's paradise.
Was he stalking her before the show? I mean, that's incredibly lucky. If you're stalking someone and you both end up in the Big Brother house.
There is some great bits in it, like when they were doing that dancing flower thing, Siavash said, oh, I wish we had a camera.
What gets me is that Big Brother, they, like, every year, it's like they're trying put, you know, wackier, weirder people in every year to make it more controversial. And I think that the only way, you know, it's only going to end up, you know, we're going to have, like, a killer. But no, not like an active killer, like someone who was a killer.
I heard that it's part of the unemployment figures,
Yeah.
isn't it? The job centre and stuff are saying there's too many people applying for too fewer jobs. Basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is part of the bigger story. There are over 2 million people unemployed in Britain.
Yeah.
But also, there's some statistic. I think McDonald's have turned down loads of people, but are still managing to employ. Explain this to me: 140 people per day.
Yes, McDonald's receive 2,200 job applications every day.
McDonald's could easily employ loads more people by employing somebody to go on the second window at the drive-through.
Yes.
There's nobody ever on that second window. First window, you pay your money. The last window, you collect the food. Why is there a second window? I always want to see Ronald McDonald on his fag break, just sat in there. Right, mate. See that Colonel? Tell him he's a prick.
52% of people would be willing to give a full-body massage to their best friend. True or false?
Depends who your best friend is, doesn't it? If your best
Yes,
friend's...
I think yes. If your best friend goes, oh, I'm so achy.
Who's your best friend? Who's your best friend?
Vicky. And if she was very achy and she lied down, took her clothes off...
Yeah?
bring out the oils.
Oh, I haven't even thought of oils. Well done.
I definitely wouldn't let a friend do acupuncture on me.
The mistake with the full body, and you only make it once, is when they say, get undressed, and you do.
They don't actually mean...
They mean keep your boxers on. They actually mean... They don't say it, but... And I would say to anyone going for one, make sure you leave your boxers on, because if you're supposed to take them off, that's less embarrassing than if you're supposed to leave them on, isn't it? Yeah. Somebody walks in and goes, oh, you're supposed to take them off. You go, all right, what am I like? If you've got them off, they go, security.
OK, so what are you going to go for, true or false?
It depends how many men were asked, of course, but I think it's... You think true?
I think it could be true, to be honest.
You both think true. I think I'm going to overrule and say false.
But you're the captain. You're the captain.
I very rarely do it, guys, but I'm doing it this time.
OK, well, I can tell you the answer is true. Yes, 52% of people would be willing to give a full-body massage to their best friend. Unlucky Jason. My best friend gave me a full-body massage, and the only thing weird about it is the fact that my best friend is a transsexual Estonian hooker working out of a hotel in Gatwick. Sean, Josie and Jamelia, what do you like the look of?
Birmingham's got to be. And it better not be anything bad.
No, it's nothing bad about Birmingham.
Well, what's going to happen if it is? What are you going to do?
I'm going to
You're
beat
gonna
him
attack
up. Yeah, I'm going to attack him.
Let's pick Birmingham. Hope it's bad.
Birmingham is a shithole. Why? No, it's not that. You've chosen Birmingham. OK. 25% of people from the Midlands have used what to seduce someone?
Well, it's not their accent, is it?
It's probably... Let's be honest. I've used that sexy Midlands twang.
How can you say that?
How do you think people seduce?
Seduce?
How would you seduce someone? Would you wear, like, some sort of cerise boob tube? Sold.
You're such an idiot.
Yeah, it's all very funny, but you don't have to live with this sexual tension.
In Birmingham, everyone like smiles at each other and they say hello, even if you don't know each other.
You're painting Birmingham to be something that it really isn't.
It is. It
Make
really.
it sound like Venice.
I swear,
suppose,
people do like smile at each other. But then when I first came to London, I did that, and they were kind of like looking at me like I was a weirdo.
I had the same thing, Jamelia, actually, coming down from the north. I remember getting to Euston, and there was a fella reading, I think it was Da Vinci Code at the time. It was before it, kicked off into the big success. And I sort of wandered over and I said, oh, is it any good, that? I've been fancying read it. He looked at me like I went, hey, mate, can I have a little tickle of your bollocks? Is that...
Top thing we learn from our dads.
It's mostly sayings. My dad, I think that's what most people learn from that. It's very, like, you say, you can't make an omelette. Very pessimistic man, my dad.
How to read? My dad taught me how to read by reading Benji the Squirrel.
You can't read.
Only
show
just.
off.
Only just.
Benji the Squirrel.
Benji the Squirrel.
Go on, prove it. What happens in the end?
OK, well, he gets the nut.
Is it not, no matter what time I get up, it'll always be afternoon? Like, no matter what time, you'll always be after your dad. It'll be like, afternoon, son.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Even at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's like, it's half eight, Dad. Afternoon. I've only been to the shop, got the papers.
I remember when I was about 12 or 13, friends are very important to you, and my dad had 4 kids, whatever. I remember thinking, you never see his friends, because he's just busy, he's working busy. I said to him, Dad, where are all your friends? He said, well, they're doing exactly the same as me. He said they're sitting down after a hard day's work, having a whiskey and answering stupid questions.
Top thing we learned from our dads. I think it's quite an obvious one. Go on, have a...
Is it DIY?
Correct, the right answer. Yes, the top thing we learned from our dads is DIY. Every Sunday morning you could hear my dad banging away in vain, trying to coax some life out of the old boiler. And then he'd give up, go upstairs and fuck my mum.
Women's dream way to be proposed to.
I think girls like to be proposed to in bed.
No.
In bed? After I just apologise and try and move on.
No, I think almost during.
During?
Hello.
Wow. Really? I haven't got time.
Is it on Trisha? That's my dream way. Because then you can ask for a DNA test straight away. And you can ask for, like, a lie detector and all that.
But if you're proposing to someone, a DNA test would be to find out whether they're the same species.
Is it outside Yates's? and you're holding her hair as she's having a little bit of a sick.
Again,
there's some places in Manchester where if you did that, you'd be quite the David Niven.
I didn't take any risks when I proposed. I put a note up the cat's arse. And when it went into the kitchen, I thought she'd go, "What's that in the cat's arse?" Will you marry? It's a bit smudged here.
I like the way that my husband proposed to me. Like, he proposed in front of people. I honestly think I probably would have said no if it was just like me and him. I'm going to actually try and answer this question. I'm just thinking, like, girly girls, probably, like, on bended knee at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
I'll give you that for the Paris, because women's dream way to be proposed to is actually on a romantic holiday. I thought it would be romantic to take my girlfriend back to where we first met, but she said, "Don't make me go back there, Mr. Jimmy. I cook, I clean, I'll be better."
I agree with you, Kelly. I'm impressed that my mum can even turn on a computer, and I think that's the way mums should be.
What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation, and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. It's our panellists' job to guess the British public's top 5 most popular talking points. Jason.
Well, it's got to be Michael Jackson's funeral, hasn't it?
What, sorry? Is he dead? Did you watch it?
Oh, I caught the last half hour. Thought it was quite nice. I mean, everyone's been slagging it off, saying it was a bit, you know, a bit cheesy and that, but if you could have Stevie Wonder singing at your funeral, you'd have him, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd rather it was your 40th, but, you know, you'd have him, wouldn't you? The weirdest thing was all the fans. There was, like, millions of fans dressed up like Michael Jackson. Now, can you imagine being at your nana's funeral, right? Just coming out and everyone's dressed like her. You're like...
The thing that I love is how people forget about the bad stuff with the kids.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, he was nice, though. He did really good music. Just like, when anyone dies, that's always what happens. Like, this man murdered 20 prostitutes. Ah, but he was good at macrame.
I'll be honest with you, I think when glitter goes, people will remember the bad stuff. Kelly, did you watch it?
I thought the whole thing was a bit much, to be honest. I mean, all of his brothers wearing the glove.
Do you notice the detail of that? Because they clearly bought 5...
I know! Someone told me this. I thought it was so funny. Instead of buying each one of them a right or a left-handed glove, they bought, like, 6 pairs and split them between 12. So some of them had them on the left hand and some of them had them on the right.
The weirdest thing I read is that they're going to put him in a concrete tomb so crazed fans can't dig him up. Who is doing that? Seriously? Who is that much of a fan? Like, hey, love, I know we missed out on tickets for the memorial service. Come in the lounge.
No, but won't his face not decompose because it's plastic?
I don't think it will. I think it'll stay pretty much as is.
Yeah, he's like a bag of nappies. 500-600 years. But I think the weird thing about it is it's not really the funeral, is it? It's like a sort of pre-funeral. It's like he's engaged to be dead. In a way, he said, well, we're dead, we're preparing for his deadness, but his deadness hasn't happened yet. We haven't got the full deadness, because his funeral's going to go on for ages. People are going to be making jokes about his funeral for about 2 or 3 months. It's like the death that just keeps on giving.
Reg, did you watch it?
I came in about halfway through, and first half hour, I thought it was about like some kind of music competition. And,
were you voting at home?
Yeah,
Going,
wow, it's a concert, man. I started watching it, and then they flashed on the coffin, and I'm like, oh, Michael Jackson dead.
What did you expect Simon Cowell to press a button and go,
Yeah, well, I love that Shaheen. He was on it, wasn't he?
He was going to play with Michael Jackson at the O2.
Which everything you say turns into some innuendo.
As you watch it, you could play the Michael Jackson double entendre drinking game. Every time somebody went, he touched so many people. Way!
I'm just saying, for Shaheen, I think playing with Michael Jackson for 50 dates, that would have stretched him. Have you ever met him?
Twice.
You met him twice?
First time I met him was at an MTV after party, and then the second time it was at Madison Square Gardens, and he was wheeling around Elizabeth Taylor with his pants unbuttoned and no shoes on. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
The weirdest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah.
But you know what? Now that Mike's dead, a lot of stories like this gonna pop out. You know, just weird stuff that people nobody listen to, but it's just okay to say now because he's gone. You're gonna hear stories like, I was eating a hot dog one time, and he jumped out the TV. And it was the damnedest thing. It was Michael Jackson. And I'm like, Mike, what you doing here? And he's like, hee hee, and he backed out.
But there's also a thing about his saying he'd be singing in heaven with the angels. And I was thinking, if he gets into heaven, we're all going, aren't we? And I bet you if he is going, the angels will be running around telling the cherubs to put some clothes on. I want you wearing dungarees and duffel coats, minimum.
Let's have a look and see whether Michael Jackson's one of the most talked about things this week. Of course it is. Yes. Yes, Michael Jackson's funeral took place this week. 12-year-old Britain's Got Talent finalist Shaheen Jaffagoli performed at Jackson's funeral. He raised the roof of the Staples Centre and the lid of the coffin. Go on, what else have people been talking about this week?
MI6.
Is it MI5? I don't know this.
MI6. MI6 is foreign intelligence. MI5 is home. MI4 is like parks and waterways. And MI3 is clamping.
Which one does furniture?
MF5. The head of MI6 has been put on one of those Facebook.
His wife has put him on Facebook.
And generally people think that's not great, that people know what the head of MI6 looks like in his trunks. It's a very funny picture because he's playing football on a beach like this. He's going... You can't see my legs, but it's very funny. I bet he was thinking, I wish my wife would put that other photo on where I'm going like this.
Someone said, some expert as well, said that the Taliban get 80% of their information from social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. Really? Really?
Yeah.
140 characters.
Quickly. Osama, Stephen Fry is having another bagel for breakfast. Yeah, but also, where's the harm? I mean, it's only holiday pictures. You know, what's she going to do? Like, oh, yeah, as you're flicking through, that's the one of us in the Seychelles. That was one we went down to Devon. That's the one of the inside of a nuclear submarine. Don't... Whoopsie-daisy.
Well, no, it's mostly for him, because obviously he's embarrassed, but now he has to kill her. She'll just be hanging out of the wash and go, ooh.
What the hell is a woman of her age doing on Facebook when she's married anyway?
I agree with you, Kelly. I'm impressed that my mum can even turn on a computer, and I think that's the way mums should be.
Last night, my mum said to me, get this working for me. And she handed me her computer, and I said, Mum, you press power. So I leave the room and I come back, and she's still looking at it, trying to figure out how to turn it on.
Do you think whatever your dad's got is catching?
That's not just a mum thing. My brother, he's only 25. I caught him once. The computer was there. He was trying to type some stuff up, and he said, I need to print it out. And it wasn't printing out. And I was going, oh, it'll work itself out. Just connect it. And I left. I come back 10 minutes later, and he had the monitor of the thing looking at the... He turned it round to face the printer going, but he has got paper!
Let's have a look and see if it's up there. Yes, this is the story. The head of MI6 has had personal details published on Facebook. Of course, the Russians are years behind in their technology. They're still using Friends Reunited. The MI6 chief has been seen in a couple of embarrassing photos, one wearing a pair of Speedos and another attaching electrodes to the testicles of an Iranian dissident. Worst thing about nightclubs?
Slags.
No, it's worst thing.
No, there's never enough of them.
Never enough slags?
Slags.
I don't know what you lot are complaining about. You'd never get laid if there wasn't slags.
Good point, well made.
I think it's that they make you feel old. I mean, like 10 years ago, I'd have gone in and I looked round to see if there was any, you know, nice-looking girls to have a chat to. Now, I'll go in and I look around to see if there's anywhere to sit. The music's so loud that you're shouting, and then suddenly in some of the songs there's just a silent bit, and then you end up going, I've never killed since. Just really loud.
I mean, I worked in nightclubs for years, and one of the weird things is when I've had guys come round up to me. I'm serious. A guy come up to me, and this is the worst one. It's when they go, "Are you that twat, Terry Christian?" And you just don't know what the right answer is, do you?
Yes, I am. Would be yes, I am that twat. Terry Christian would be the correct answer.
Or there's like the backhanded compliment that is like, I thought that you were going to be so fat and ugly, but you're not. Well, you're a lot prettier than I thought you were going to be.
I get that a lot. You're so pretty. You don't look pretty on the television. But actually, you're beautiful. Your skin is so soft, Sean. Can I hold you? And then they cradle me like that.
Is it mums who go clubbing with their daughters and they're like, everyone thinks we're sisters? You're like, no, we really don't.
I don't like it. You're not allowed to take pets in. I was looking after a friend of mine's Alsatian, and I said, I just want to stand by the dance floor with a dog like that. And a pint. Also, there's no creche. Often my partner works nights. And what, am I supposed to stay in? I should be able to take the kids to a creche, go, there's some crisps, there's some lemonade, Daddy's going dancing.
OK, so, worst thing about nightclubs?
The drinks are a bit dear.
That's the right answer.
Nice.
Well done.
Yes, the worst thing about nightclubs is expensive drinks. I always go to nightclubs to get off my tits, which is what they say to me. Get off my tits. Top thing Brits won't sacrifice to spite the credit crunch.
Is it, like, just crap from IKEA that you don't need? You've gone in to buy, like, a Billy bookcase, but you come out with, like, a lime holder.
200 tea lights.
Yeah,
I just want these 200 tea lights. I might need to power a runway.
Is it crazy straws?
How crazy are you talking, Sean?
I'm talking mental straws. Straws, where you start sucking, it's a week before you taste anything. It goes over there. It goes into a different borough for a bit, and then it comes back.
I would say tea, because tea is a big deal to people over here, man. You walk in their house, first thing they do is offer you some tea. If you have a stroke and you seem to be coming back from it, they offer you some tea. You could have just had an abortion, your husband could have left you, but the first thing they will offer you is some tea. Yeah, so I just think people won't do without no tea over here.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a million miles away with tea.
Coffee.
In a survey to find Britain's happiest profession, the clergy came second. What came top?
Beer tasters. A beer taster in Britain would have to be one of the happiest people in the world, I would think. Y'all drink the way Americans eat, and just, you got to go a long way to be an alcoholic in this country.
Yeah, you really have to. Yeah. You really have to perform. And there are towns where you can't be an alcoholic, places like Newcastle, where it's just not feasible.
No. I've never seen women drink as much as they do in Newcastle.
Man, on weekends, sometimes they dress up like hookers, too. It's great.
Kelly, if you had a real job, this is just a scenario, it's not going to happen,
real
no one's going to make you do a real job, what would you like to do?
Oh, is this a real job to you?
Yes, it is. Bringing joy to the nation.
Jimmy, and not forgetting scaring any children who are watching.
Get to bed, I'm coming to get you.
I've got a little brother who's 8, and I asked him a few weeks ago, like, what do you want to be when you're older? And he had a proper good think about it, and he went, a dog. He's looked at the dog and he thinks, that looks like a pretty good life to me. I tell you what, the easiest job I've seen recently, lollipop ladies at
That's what I was
Crossroads.
just about to say.
Lollipop ladies at
Crossroads.
Pelican Crossing.
Yes, that's what
Why
I
are
don't
you
get.
there? Press the button, it goes red, and then she walks into the middle of the road with a stop. I go, I know!
I'll give you a clue. You get to chat a lot if you do this job.
Is it hairdressing?
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Yes, Britain's happiest profession is hairdressing. If you want to know the difference between a hairdresser and a barber is a slightly older gay man from Cyprus. Your related question. Most Brits have a hobby they're too embarrassed to tell their friends about. True or false?
It's only posh people who have hobbies, really, isn't it?
It must be train spotting has got to be the most embarrassing, hasn't it? You see, you do always feel a bit superior to those people who are train spotting. I get the train at Stockport and there's a bloke spotting trains and I'm like, well, I can do that, mate. That's a piece of piss. Why don't you go out to sea and try and spot them? You know, challenge yourself. You know what I mean? That's the real skill.
There are not many different kinds of trains.
It's about the numbers on the trains as opposed to the model.
So they look for numbers?
Yeah.
Or if they've got a big face on the front, you can tell if it's Thomas or Edward or Gordon.
Do you know what my hobby is?
What's your hobby, Sean?
I like going up to people who've got those Sanskrit tattoos and get my Sanskrit English dictionary out. So, what do you think that says? It says, David. No, it says garage.
OK, so what do you think? Most Brits have a hobby they're too embarrassed to tell their friends about.
I say false.
We said false.
So you're saying false? You're saying...
We're going to go false. False.
So you're going false, you're going false. I can tell you the answer is false.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is false. Only 5% of Brits have a hobby they're embarrassed about. I could tell you my hobby, but then I'd have to kill you, which coincidentally is my hobby.
Turned up at some singing do.
Yes.
Thrown some water. Tried to snog a cock.
Let's have a look and see what we've been talking about over the last few months.
Is it Big Brother? It's the 10th series now, and I've always been a fan of Big Brother, but there's been a few points where I think even the voiceover bloke sounds like he's getting a bit bored. Yeah. So one day I just want to turn it on and go, dear whatever it is in a Big Brother house, one of them has said something that's upset the other one, but the other ones don't care.
Here's the thing, Davina, brilliant. The house, brilliant.
Who's your favourite housemate?
Well, then
the
problem is, then they fill the nice, lovely house with the cool sofa and the, oh, you can come over here and make a smoothie with twats.
Sorry, Shri is not a twat. Shri is amazing. He's obsessed by this girl. He's obsessed by Noreen. He's in the same house as her as he's obsessed by her, so it's come in really handy. It's a stalker's paradise.
It is. Was he stalking her before the show? I mean, that's incredibly lucky. If you're stalking someone and you both end up in the Big Brother house.
You know Lisa, the lesbian lady?
Is she a lesbian?
Yeah,
the one with the Mohican?
Yeah.
And the big...
She'd be sat there, like this, she'd go, don't get me wrong, you know, that girl's allowed, do you know what I mean? I mean, I'd maybe do them, but I wouldn't do the ginger one, but I'd do the rest. I thought, none of them are going to have sex with you, you dirty great Leslie. What are you talking about? You'd be lucky to have sex with the ginger one.
James, are you watching Big Brother?
I don't actually watch reality TV. I think it's crass, to be honest with you. I think when you see these people who just, you know, lower their standards to go on to try and... on the off chance... On the off chance...
the irony. Did you get it?
I'm serious. On the off chance that they might get, you know, tapped up to go on some poxy Channel 4 show late at night on a Friday...
Probably got to be, will Gordon Brown still be in a job in the next week or so? He's obviously got to be very worried. I'd be very worried if I had Hugh Edwards doing the news from outside my house. I think if you look outside your window and you see Hugh Edwards going, welcome to the 10 o'clock news, you've got to think, Christ, what have I done? There's a brilliant picture of him this week. Have you got a picture of him?
I've got the picture of him being held on the chin.
And it's very interesting because he's the Prime Minister. Someone's just reached out and... I mean, if that was Obama, they'd be mincemeat by now. He doesn't even stop him. I reckon you could walk up to Gordon Brown, pull his trousers open and pour custard down there. And after about a minute, the special services would go, actually, that's enough custard. He is the Prime Minister. He's coming out on his shoes, for Christ's sake. A bit of respect.
Jason, do you think Gordon Brown is doomed?
I think the Labour Party in general won't... Well, they'll be here, but they won't be in power, I think. I mean, now all the MPs are in this rigmarole of... They're terrified, aren't they? And they're calling it expenses scandal. But let's call it what it is. It's theft, isn't it? That's what it is, theft. If we did it in our job, you know, I've taken a few of your suits home over the past few weeks. You know, I dressed my wife in them. And,
one good thing that comes out of this, if you're walking down the street and you see an MP with a Kit Kat, you're entitled to just go off and break off a bit. I paid for this. Yeah, this is better with a pepperami because you can bend it over and then go too hot.
Are they actually taking anyone's personal money?
Yes, ours.
yeah, ours.
What have the nation been talking about?
Have you been watching a bit of the Britain's Got Talent?
It's gotta be Britain's Got
Subo.
Subo, she's gone mad.
Turned up at some singing do.
Yes.
Thrown some water. Tried to snog a cock. Shot with loads of abuse. And only now does it come to light that she's Scottish. Have these people ever been on National Express? There's fucking loads of them. Moon River!
You shouldn't knock her, though, because also one of the things about the reason Obama likes her so much is she's a very important weapon in the war against terror. Because young extremists are now thinking twice about blowing themselves up now they know what a virgin really looks like. They're going...
She's got some huge fans, though, because, and you'll appreciate this as a Twitterer, Jimmy. Demi Moore has been twittering her support all through this, saying how much she likes her. And I think that's because Demi Moore is smart. Because she's thinking, you know, when the looks go, I'll be able to play her in a movie.
They are actually doing a movie of her, though, aren't they? Of Susan Boyle's life. And
Yes, and I'm going to play her.
Madonna's been at it again. She's adopted another child, which is fantastic news for everybody.
If I could get adopted, I would get adopted by Billy Bragg. That's like my dream person to adopt me. If he's out there, just...
Do you have
I make
parents?
no trouble. Yeah, I've got parents. They're great.
Will they be watching this? Going, what, we haven't written enough protest songs? What do you want, love?
I would choose Adam Woodyard.
Wow, people
He's
have
my
actually got this...
favourite celebrity. I interviewed him once. He's number one, smiley. Number two, charming.
This is Ian Beale we're talking about here.
Number three...
She wants Ian Beale to be her dad.
He just seems... He's very friendly.
They're slagging Madonna off in the paper, but she's going to make this child's life better. I mean, I'm from Manchester, and I'm doing all right for myself, but even she would make my life better, you know, so...
Yeah, if Madonna offered to adopt me, even at this point, I'd consider it.
I'd say so.
Yeah. She's probably got things like a jacuzzi.
Let's have a look and see whether Madonna adopting a baby is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, this is the story that Madonna has adopted a second Malawian child. Already, Madonna's visit has passed into Malawian legend, specifically the legend of the scrawny witch that swoops down from the skies and steals children. No offence to any witches that we have in the audience. If we had any witches, I apologise. Anyone had green hair? Say, for example, that one there.